Hello, my name is Linda Rutenberg. I am a fine art photographer who has been working, making photographs, teaching, lecturing, and all involved in the photographic world for the last 30 years. I'm exhibiting an exhibition called The Garden at Night, which you are about to see. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the project and how it came to be. I switched over from film cameras to digital cameras, and in doing so decided to do a project that would take me into a realm that I had not photographed before, and that was the nighttime. I decided to go out and try to photograph what was left of night in large cities, and in my city, which was Montreal, Canada. And so I started to go into industrial areas and into parts of the city which still had that feeling of darkness, beauty, and mystery. And when I work on a project, I tend to read a lot of books, I watch films, and I read poetry, and it immerses me in all of the ideas and thoughts of that topic. And I read a beautiful book called Acquainted with the Night by a writer called Christopher Dewdney that essentially chronicles nighttime in all its aspects. There's a chapter on the moon, there's a chapter on love, there's a chapter on the insects, and so it really gave me a framework. When I went out to photograph, I had some of these ideas in my head. With that in mind, I received a telephone call from a magazine called Landscape Architect who asked me to go and photograph a garden festival that takes place in a garden north of Montreal called the Reeford Gardens. And I went up there, I met the director, and we walked around the garden, and he said to me, "Linda, the nicest time to take pictures in this garden is early in the morning." And he offered me the key to come in order to take those pictures. It happens that at that moment in time, my husband and I had a Volkswagen camper van, and we were looking for a place to park it that night. So I said to him, "Would you mind if you lock us in the garden? We can park in the parking lot, and we have everything we need, and that way I'll be there early in the morning to take pictures." And it occurred to me suddenly after he said yes that I was going to be spending the night in the garden. And so I asked him if he had any extra flashlights. And my husband and I spent an extraordinary evening in the garden, walking around, basically looking at different kinds of the flowers that we could just barely see. And then we took some flashlights and we stuck them onto this tripod that we had with some duct tape. And we just I would see flowers and I would say, "Okay, Roger, put 2 flashlights on this flower or 1 flashlight on this flower." And we didn't really know what we were doing. We were just having fun. When I came home and looked at the results of what I had taken, I was quite astounded by them. And I thought to myself that I had never seen any work like that taken in a live and living garden. So I started to do some research and in fact discovered that no one had worked in a living garden at nighttime. There had been photographers who had taken plants into their studios and photographed them against backgrounds, but nobody actually worked in the garden after midnight. So I went out to do more work, and then I put together a project that essentially entailed 20 botanical gardens, 16 American and 4 Canadian gardens, but they had to be public gardens and they had to be large and well-known gardens that people knew really well in the daytime. And it would be my challenge to show them a whole new world of a garden at night.